So the show came out a little while ago, I believe. If I don't know exactly when. When I first was hearing about some of this controversy, I think it still had yet to come out. By now, it's out. It might even be all the way out now since it's a Netflix show. So they're not airing things week by week. They may have just released the whole thing. I don't know. But it's about the Menendez brothers, who I really didn't know much about before this whole thing, and I still don't. Besides, they're the brothers who murdered their father, I believe, or their parents, something like that. One of those two. It was one or the other, and because of that, I don't know what it is because I had heard of them just only somewhat briefly. I can't help but think, and not no disrespect, I guess, to the people who made the show or anything like that, but maybe kind of think that we must be running low on people who are making these true crime shows about, because we've made them about all the, I think we made them about most of the people who have committed crimes who are just kind of known by name. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, I think has had a show like this. So I feel like we must be kind of running a bit low. But the official name is called Monsters: The Lyle and Eric Menendez Story. And so from that alone, I don't really know if people thought this was going to be like an unbiased telling of their story, because a lot of these true crime shows try to do sort of an unbiased look at it, and some of them clearly are going for a more dramatized version where they're making them. I don't want to say they're making them look worse, because a lot of these people like Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer, I mean, how do you make? I mean, they killed people. How do you make them look much worse? But some of them try to be a bit more unbiased and just kind of tell the story straight up and don't try to make you feel. They don't try to influence how you're going to feel. But again, for someone who hasn't seen this show, because I don't really use Netflix anyway, I thought, okay, well, there's pretty much no way this show is going to be one of those unbiased ones. They kind of have a reason they're making a show like this. But apparently, I was a bit surprised that the family is not happy with this. And for starters, like I said, I don't know a lot about the family history or the crime that much. So I don't really know if people generally believe they acted in self defense. Because from what I understand, there's people who thought the killings were, the same reason any like serial killer kills someone, as just because they're crazy and insane or whatever and are terrible people. And then there's people who kind of believe it was in self defense because there are allegations against the father of, I believe, like sexual abuse and that sort of thing, which may be true. Like I said, I really don't know a whole lot about this, but I don't know if people expected the show was going to have some like sympathy for that viewpoint that the brothers act in self defense. But I feel like the title kind of already wiped that away. So, according to Variety, 24 members of the Menendez family shared a statement saying, referring to the brothers and saying that they, quote, know them, love them, and want them home with us. And they called the show, quote, phobic, gross, I'm not going to be able to say that correctly. Anachronistic, several episodic nightmare that is not serial episodic nightmare. Oh my god, that is not only riddled with mistruths and outright falsehoods, but ignores the most recent ex- revelations. There, I'm not going to. I'm going to mispronounce another word horribly, so I'm just going to skip over it. And that was surprising me for a few reasons. First of all, I didn't know. I mean, that 24 people was a lot. I think for any family, and I was surprised because the Menendez brothers killed people within their own family. So I was kind of wondering if the family was kind of split on this. And maybe there are members who are not taking their side and are on the side that the murders were wrong. But it seemed pretty definite. I thought 24 people. All right. I thought at least a few of them would have taken like the parent side, but no, not many. And I thought they used the word phobic to describe the show, which I thought was a bit strange, just because I mean usually there's something before phobic is like a suffix, like homophobic or like xenophobic or something like that, but I guess it wasn't needed this time. And I kind of get into why later, because I think I maybe understand what they were getting at there. And I thought it was also a bit interesting when I read the wording of it from a Variety, which is where I got it from, when they worded it as the family released a statement, and then there were 24 people. I thought I know that there are a lot of like families that are groups that will release statements on matter, like I don't know if this is like a similar comparison, but like when Michael Jackson was going through that Leaving Neverland documentary a few years ago, the Jackson family as a whole released a statement on that, and they just credited it like that. So maybe this is sort of a common thing, but the Menendez brothers family, it was a bit larger than I thought it would be, and I was kind of surprised that there was still like anywhere where they would put the statement as a group, but they did. And I don't know. I thought it was a bit strange how, and I'm not saying this to be rude or weird about it or whatever, but I didn't really understand. I didn't think that I didn't know if the members of the family expected the creators of the show thought they were gonna like get a vote in this, And I know the Menendez brothers killed other members of the family, but when the show is called Monsters, I feel like they kind of might know that the show is not going to take like a sympathetic viewpoint. And again, I don't know much about their history. I don't know, maybe they should or shouldn't or whatever take what type of viewpoint on this. But I thought it was a bit funny that they kind of thought that maybe they would change the show or something. But also of note, Eric Menendez, which is one of the two, he released a statement the day after the show came out against the series as well. And I didn't know that they were going to let him watch Netflix in prison, but I guess they made an exception or something. And that's not even, I'm not even trying to be funny with that. I legitimately didn't know. I didn't think he was going to be able to watch the show. But maybe they made an exception because it's, he's one of the stars of the show, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe would they like wheel a TV in there? Or something? I mean, I don't know why, but I just kind of imagine like when prisons when they wheel a TV or wheel a bookshelf in there. Sometimes I thought maybe it would be something like that, but surprisingly, he was not happy with the show either. And yeah, I guess maybe we can hear his full. If you read the statement, there probably his full thoughts there, but it's also possible that he was kind of just told what the show is like and was against it. I don't know. But on another note, also according to the Hollywood Reporter, or only this is not the first statement from the Hollywood Reporter. The show has faced criticisms for portraying an incestuous relationship between the brothers, including showing them kissing. And this is based, I don't want to say, I guess somewhat in truth, because Lyle apparently testified that he molested Eric when they were children, if that's any evidence on their side. And I don't really know if that was how big a part this plays in the show, or if there's any sort of like freak jobs who really wanted to see that take place. But I mean, there you go. I guess I mean it is in there. So if that is accurate at all, then and I'm gonna circle back. I said that I didn't get what the phobic thing was. I assume it was towards. I would assume it's in relation to that because that's the only thing that I guess I thought could be called phobic of any sense. Although maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. I guess because again I haven't seen the whole show. I haven't seen any of the show, and I don't know. I think I wasn't a bit if I knew that was something that was said about them, I wouldn't be surprised they'd include it in the show because something with people who like go nuts for these Netflix true crime shows. I don't know why, but I just kind of assumed they wouldn't have that much of a problem with that being in there. I mean, that's just a stereotype. Obviously, I probably shouldn't even say it, but that's what I thought. And ultimately, I mean, I guess it's kind of a brief segment, but the thing I just keep going back to, I feel like, is that I just thought it was interesting that the idea that, like, the Menendezes would get a vote in this, and I didn't. This happened after I think this was somewhat recent, so it was after I kind of finished writing a lot of my notes for this, and I don't have like the source for this, but I believe the creators of the show or someone involved with the show basically defended the show, which it's not surprising that they're going to do that, but also said that they weren't really going to take the suggestions seriously or something like that, or that they didn't take the criticism seriously, or that they heard other people corroborate how they were portraying the brothers, so they're going to keep going with it. So I guess it doesn't make a difference. And like I said, I think the show might be over at this point. I maybe we'll come back to this with like after watching the show, and then I can get my full thoughts on how they do it or whatever. But I can't guarantee anything. But yeah, I don't know if the people behind the show thought that the Menendez family should get a vote in this, but it kind of just makes me think. What I keep going back on is if that Jeffrey Dahmer show, which I brought up as a comparison, and I'm not really comparing their crimes necessarily, but just there was that Netflix Jeffrey Dahmer show that got a lot of attention a few years ago. I was wondering if that came out 30 or so years ago, back when he was still alive, 40 or so years ago. I wonder what he might have said if he would have released a statement about it, or if he was still alive, he would have released a statement on it. And then maybe, I mean, I guess we can't say for sure, we'll never know. But I wonder if whatever he said might have been something that the creators would have taken to heart about doing differently on the show, but I guess we'll never know.